feel like I'm gonna do it right this time. Hello, Toastmasters and distinguished guests, my parents. I didn't just say that. In reparation, or peroration, in conclusion and summary of my entire talk, I thought I'd start with that word just to get one in on Katie. When you unmap the miraculous, there's a reason for it, and that is most of my friends when I was younger, they would always come to me and ask me, why was life the way it was? I was always getting these questions, and I always wanted to answer them. When I was growing up, my father would always say, doggone it, you have an answer for everything. And I thought to myself, well, I live with you. I have to have an answer for everything, or I'm gonna be in trouble. So my journey carries on from the unmapping of the whys to how come Diane always comes out smelling like a rose? That was another thing that people would say. Another idea of what people would say is, when you go to the Goodwill, how is it that you walk through the front door and you come out with the very thing that you need? And I had people that would literally want me to have classes on how to go and find these things. So that's sort of the miraculous that I would like to talk about, is how is it that life works for me, and why does it work for me? And why does it seem to not work for other people? But I think life is always working for all of us. All of you have a puzzle piece in front of you, as you can see. We are all a part of the whole. And the thing that's different about me, I believe, in comparison to people that have been around me in my life that just didn't get it, is that there's two ways that you can look at life. And the way in which I look at life is that everything is a miracle. And Einstein, as you can see, has said this. He said, there's two ways to view life. First, as though everything is a miracle. And second, as if nothing is a miracle. Now, what would create this difference is the mind's eye, the way in which we see things. It's the way we see things. Where does the seeing take place? The seeing is you. It takes place inside of you. We project out that which we see. I was always called goody two-shoes. I was always called, stargazer. I always saw the cosmic view of things, always looking for what wasn't here, looking for the invisible. The invisible is always present with us. Looking at the invisible, so we come in a blank slate. And I just couldn't help myself. I had to produce a board at home. I buy canvases at the Goodwill, and then I restructure canvases all the time. Growing up, here I am, coming into the world. This is the tree of life, and these are the pieces and parts of life that each of us get, and we're all a little confused about how that all works until we get a little older and we get our bumps and bruises and we start to figure things out. One of my greatest lessons came to me, and I kind of call this like your soul. Your soul speaks to you. It came to me, this statement here, when I was about 14 years old. And if you can see what it says, there's a feather on it, because this is sort of the beginning of spirit for me. It says, "Great Spirit, grant that I may not criticize my neighbor until I've walked a mile in his moccasins." So it started to make me see the world a little bit bigger than myself. Then I came along a little further in time. Now I'm 28 years old, which I guess that's 14 years later on my journey. And now I'm looking at the magical parts of life, which doesn't look so concrete as these blocks, does it? These pieces are very defined about who we are and what we're doing in life. Over here is the right side of the brain. Over here is the left side. The This is our analytical side, what we have to do in life. And this is the inside of us. This is the core. This is the interior design of who all of us are. But how often are we listening to the inner being? How often are we listening? This, at age 28, became something that I saw in the Four Seasons. And it was on a beautiful Indian sculpture. And it says, man cannot know the magnitude of his actions until he realizes the unity of all things. Over here, this is the unity of all things. It's our dream. It's our dream place, and then we come into the physical. But if we all knew that everything was connected from the beginning, like your piece of the puzzle that is in front of you, all of them fit together. If we knew exactly that all of us were connected from the beginning and not separate as we come into the world separate in our peace. If we knew that first, we knew that unity consciousness, then we would understand that all we have to do is use our gifts in life. All we have to do is realize our personal peace. That's all we have to do. It's so simple. But when you come over here, you think, oh, I got to do this, and I got to do that, and I got to achieve that. And some areas are gray, and I'm not certain. It's very confusing. So when I mentioned before about post-traumatic stress disorder, that's like an electrical cha-ching to your body, because that's what happened to me. It made me understand the miraculous. I saw that event, that tragedy in my life, as this terrible thing that I couldn't get over, and I lamented it for so many years. But that was the thing that awakened me to my new life as a spiritual being in a physical world. This is the energy that I live in, and I see the unity of the insect world. I see the unity of the stone world. This is the American Indian conversation. The American Indians, the Hopi Indians, said the world is a web. In peroration, in summary and conclusion, we are the spider. And when you move on the web, the whole web moves. And that is the essence. And the star on my puzzle piece is kind of cute, because this is how it worked. My little puzzle piece has an eyeball on it. So it's awakening. I didn't know that till just now. It's awakening to the star that's within you. And all of us are a star, indeed. Thank you.